Dear student, today we will discuss Elisa, that is enzyme link immunosorbent assay. Now this is immunological assay. It is a diagnostic technique based on immunoassay and usually used to detect HIV infection. HIV means human immunodeficiency virus. HIV is usually diagnosed by testing blood sample in which the presence of antibodies against HIV antigen are detected, and the method has high specificity and sensitivity. So the basic principle behind the method is it based on the principle that antigen antibody reaction is highly specific. Now let's see how it is done. So it is performed in a specific plate called microtiter plate, which contains so many number of wells, and different wells are used um, for loading the sample. Okay, we will see how the wells are coated with HIV antigen. This is called immobilization of antigen. Now this is already done by the manufacturer, by the company. So different types of plates are there for different testing. Okay, now the antigen is already coated. Now to the well we add the HIV infected patient serum. Now what is serum? You take the blood from the patient and you do the centrifugation. Those cells will settle down at the bottom, and the supernatant will contain a fluid which is known as serum, and this serum consists of actually antibodies. So when we are uh, putting these dilutions of different serum, different wells are used for that. So different dilution of serum are used, like 10, 10 is to 2, 10 is to 3, 10 is to 4. So you'll um, put these serum dilution in different wells. Okay, now serum contains the antibodies. There are certain specific antibodies, certain non-specific antibodies. Now antigen will only bind to the specific antibodies. So you'll do the washing where the extra antibodies, the non-specific antibodies are removed. Okay, the next is now the next step is to add the secondary antibodies. Okay, now what are secondary antibodies? These are the antibodies which are produced against the primary antibodies, that is the antibodies of HIV. Okay, and they are usually produced in the animal. Okay, so in which the primary antibodies are used as antigen, and against that the antibodies are synthesized. These are called secondary antibodies, or we say anti-antibodies. Okay, now this anti-antibody is linked with, or you can say conjugated covalently with the enzyme. These enzymes are such as horseradish peroxidase or alkaline phosphatase, and the enzyme reaction ensure that antibody is properly linked to primary antibody. Now there are method in which the enzyme is directly linked to the primary antibody, but here we are discussing the conventional form of ELISA, in which this method, the antibody is linked with the enzyme. Okay, so the next is to add the substrate and to do the enzyme reaction. So substrate is added. Again, this substrate is artificial tetramethyl benzidine, and it is chromogenic substrate. So when this enzyme react with the substrate, it produces the colored product. So this is how it links. Okay, so it is specific to primary antibody, so it will attach itself to the primary antibody, and the enzyme will react with the substrate and produce the color. Now a visible color is seen in the well, and the presence of color confirms the HIV test positive. So what it confirms? It confirms this reaction, enzyme reaction, when it will occur, it will only occur when this antibody is linked with the primary, the antibody is linked with the primary antibody, and primary antibody linkage depend on when the primary antibody linked with the antigen. So finally indirectly this gives that antigen is present and antibodies are present, because the reaction is highly specific. Now the intensity of color varies with the dilution of serum. So the color is more dark when the dilution is less. Suppose if we consider 10 raised to 2 and 10 raised to 5, then 10 raised to 2 is less diluted, so you will see more dark color in 10 raised to 2 dilution, and the less dark in more diluted. So in 10 raised to 5 dilution you will see light color. So what is the titer value? Is the measurement of how much antibodies are there in the blood. So low titer means low antibodies, high titer means high antibodies, and usually determined by number of antibody in the highest dilution that has produced color in the well. So the calculation is based on that. So this is what is ELISA. Thank you.